I look at things, often, that's my job, through a political lens. So I look at the Keystone Pipeline and I see this activist judge, and it makes me rather upset. I would imagine you're not exactly happy by this ruling either, but maybe looking at through more of a business or practical lens.
Well, Graham, I'm not happy with it either, and I think about it, and I forget the term he used, like a higher level of looking at it. It was just kind of crazy. And when I'm sitting here listening to you talk and so forth, I'm thinking, again, more money being spent for the judge and looking at this and so forth. What a waste of time. But we'll put that aside and talk about the consumer, because what this is going to do is going to cost consumers more over, per gallon of gas and so forth. This was a way to save consumers money. This is a way to help out our economy. And what is really frustrating, Graham, is that right now oil is transported via trains. How much safer is it by transporting oil on trains than it is through a pipeline?
Yeah, absolutely. And from a national security standpoint, this makes absolute sense. And you look at the oil market right now, oil has been tanking. Sorry to use a pun there, but it's been on a losing streak lately, maybe one of the longest losing streaks ever. What's going on there?
A lot of supply, Graham. The United States, we are now the largest producer of oil. We're going to do about 11.6 billion gallons per day of oil. We are now the largest producer of that. Also, Saudi Arabia is producing a lot. Russia is. So we have a glut of oil. There is a slowdown in demand of oil, but not that much. Actually, China is at record levels for importing oil. So kind of an imbalance right here, but it's just a supply, Graham. The higher the supply, the lower the price will go. I think we could see oil drop below $50 a barrel before it goes back up again.
And the bottom line is America is now a net oil exporter, which, who would have thunk that 20, 30 years ago, or maybe during the Jimmy Carter years? Never would have imagined it. But a lot of it has to do with the technology like fracking that's allowing us to extract oil in places we hadn't in the past. Now, one of the issues that the Federal Reserve, and I want to talk about them in a minute, but first I want to look at an indicator that the Federal Reserve is watching when it's looking out for a potential recession, is inflation. And we have this reading on wholesale prices last month. Is this an indicator that we could be looking at some inflation?
I think we have to be careful here, Graham, because the producer price index was up 0.6%. Now, again, that is not, year over year is like 2.9%, I believe. So we're seeing warning signs. We have to be careful here, because as producer prices go up, that can be passed along to consumer, which is inflationary. But the problem that producers are having is wage pressures, because to keep employees, you have to pay them more, and they have to pass that cost along to the consumers, unfortunately.
Right. So we could be looking at an inflationary picture, but we have to have more data, I would imagine, is the bottom line.
Well, we got to get data continuously to see if it goes in that direction of higher prices, which I do believe it probably will.
All right, speaking of the Fed, so the Fed is coming out and saying, hey, the economy looks good, looks pretty healthy, a pretty good report card, which is good news, bad news, I guess, because if the Fed thinks the economy is pretty good, then it's more likely that they can continue this stance of raising rates.
Oh, correct. And I'm pretty confident we'll see them raise rates in December. Now, we will see the employment numbers come out December 7th. I think we're going to see some positive numbers there as well. Also, for 2019, Graham, I think we'll see probably 3 more increases there. Right now, a 10-year Treasury is around 3.2, 3.3. We could see it probably by this time next year above 4%, which kind of scares people a little bit, but they probably shouldn't be so scared. It's not as bad as we think it's going to be.
Right, and you were saying how it affects mortgages and mortgage rates. It's not the end of the world, financially speaking, right?
It's really not. When you look at the average cost of a home nationwide, you're looking around a $300,000 home. That gives you a mortgage, a monthly payment right now at 5%, and right now around 4.8, 4.9. But at 5%, your mortgage payment would be about $1,288. If you go to 6%, a full 1% increase, you're looking only at $5 more per day. So cut out the Starbucks, and you'll probably be able to afford the mortgage.
Right. And this is the paradox for the president, right? A healthy economy means that, hey, the Fed Reserve is looking at possibly raising rates to where they should have been many, many years ago. Brent, thanks.
You're welcome.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.